Commercial GCs, this is how to set up one system to manage all of the daily logs that are submitted for all of your projects in one place. By the way, if you're a commercial GC doing between $10 to $50 million a year in revenue, you would like systems to improve the profitability and cash flow of your projects, check out the link in the description below, book a call with me. Anyway, as you can see here, we are in a system. Now, this system is in fact called Monday.com, and we have built this extensive system to manage various different aspects of your business as a commercial GC. So you can see RFIs, change orders, the billing process, milestones, we've got projects. And in today's video, we're going to make a system to manage daily logs, so daily submittals against a particular project that are then associated to the project and can be reviewed by the project manager if, let's say, the daily log is submitted by the superintendent, as an example. So what we're going to do is go ahead and press the plus button in the top left hand corner here, and we're going to create our daily logs board. So this is where every daily log is going to be submitted. Privacy options are entirely up to you. Main, accessible to everyone. Private, only you and select individuals. And then shareable. Do you want to share this externally? You are more than welcome to. And then what are we managing in this board? In this instance, I'm just going to write in logs. So it's just a new log. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and create our new board. So now we have our board. I'm going to go ahead and set up the various stages of the process. So we're going to have submitted logs. Then we're going to have under review logs. So logs that have been reviewed and then are pending further review. And then we've got verified or completed logs as well. So submitted logs. So every single project, every single superintendent will log per day, a daily log, right? And it will come in as a new submitted log, and then all of the logs will sit in this group here. And then they'll be under review, and either they can be approved immediately, or sometimes they might require further review. So under review logs, and then we'll have, let's say, verified logs as an example, or you could just have approved. Let's go for approved. So approved logs. Awesome. So we've got three different stages. So we've got three different stages: submitted, under review, and then approved. I changed this to the green here, submitted, and then that's absolutely fine. So now we've got our different stages of the log process, or the daily log process. I'm just going to make sure the status column matches these different options. So we'd have submitted, we'd have under review, and then we will have approved. Awesome. Oh, I don't know. Monday didn't like that for whatever reason. Let's just see. There we go. And then let's just add that in again. So approved. Awesome. So we've got the three different stages of the process. I'll just change this to the purple so it matches, and then we can go ahead and hide the column summary. Cool. So we have our stages now. The next thing that we want to do is utilize this date column. So this date column is going to be the date created. This is the day in which this log was created inside of the Monday.com system. Not necessarily for the day in which this log was for, but the day in which it was created. So what we'll do is just restrict the column editing on here. And then we're going to go ahead and create another date column. And this is going to be the day in which it was approved. So date again, and this is date approved. Cool. So date approved. Again, what we'll do is we'll just three-dotted button and then restrict the column editing. And then what we want to do is we want to add a formula column. And we want to work out the difference in days between date created and date approved. So give me the difference in days between date created and date approved. And then we're just using the AI assistant so we don't have to write the formula ourselves. We'll insert this in and just press set formula. Set formula. Yeah, that's the one. And then I'll call this TTA, so time to approve. Again, I would hide the column summary, and then I'll go ahead and I would restrict the column editing. So now, and the purpose for this is we can see the average amount of time it takes to approve a log or a daily log once it's been submitted. And this might be quite an important metric to manage project managers, to see if people are ahead or behind on work. And if there's a particular project manager that's slower than they should be, this is a great place to manage that. So we then want to go ahead and just set up the basic automations for our process here. So we go to automate in the top right hand corner, and then manage, and then create automation. And then the first automation is when the item is created, we want to set the date created. So set date created to today. Okay. And then we want to go through the different stages of the process. Fortunately, there are only 3 stages though, so this shouldn't take too long. But when status changes to submitted, move item to group submitted, and then create automation. And then we're going to do the same for the other 2 status options as well. So when status changes to under review, then move item to group under review, and then create automation. And then finally, when status changes to approved, so when status changes to approved, then move item to group, approved, and also set date approved to today. So set date approved to today, and then just hit create automation. Awesome. So you've got your various stages of the process, and now those are all automated and set up exactly how we would want them to be. So the next thing we're going to want to look at is the various data points associated with the daily log. So what do we want people to be submitting, and what data do we need to capture? The basic stuff that we want is firstly a date column. This date column is going to be the daily log date. So date, or whatever we want to call it. Oh, I don't know what's just happened there. Monday didn't like that again. 2 issues today. So again, I'll try again. So date submitted. No, not necessarily date submitted, date, or I'll just put date. So it's the day in which this log is for. So if they're behind, then you'd be able to track that. Again, that's why we have the difference between date created and just the date column. Now we'll probably have some long text columns as well. So long text for the project progress, or any updates to the project progress. So let's say work performed, and then we might have, so we'll go work performed here, work performed, work performed, there we go. We might have another one which is, let's say, equipment used or something along those lines. So again, work performed. Oh, Monday's not having a good day today. That's another issue. Oh dear, Monday. Work performed. We would have equipment / material used as another long text column. So equipment / material used. Awesome. What else would we want? We could have, let's say, weather conditions if we wanted to. So we could add, let's say, a status column, and this would be the weather conditions for this submittal or daily log. So weather conditions, and it could be rainy. I don't know what options. Sunny, rain, wind, snow, I guess. Of course, these can be customized to you, but so let's go sunny, rainy, windy, snowy, rainy, windy. And then snowy as well if we wanted to track that. Then we again just delete these other data points here. So now another data point that we can track and also importantly report on as well. So we've got weather conditions there. Delays / issues noted, I think, is another one that we probably want to add. So let's add another long text column. This would be delays / issues noted. Hit enter. Might drag this over here. We could have safety incidents, so status non-minor major might be another option. So status column, and then we call this safety incidents, safety incidents, none, minor, and then major. So let's go none, or let's go minor, major in the red, and then just use none on as this one here. So there we go. So none, minor, and then major, and then we can get rid of that. Press apply, and then just hide the column summary here as well. So we've got safety incidents. What else do we then want to track? Photos and attachments, I think, is probably worth having. So we'll keep that photos as the files column. So this is already a files column that exists on the board. So we go photos / attachments, and we can manage anything that someone wants to upload is then accessible on here inside of Monday. And then we have maybe inspection / QA notes, so we could add that as well as a long text column. So we go inspection / QA notes, hit enter, and that can be repositioned over here. What else might we have? We could have something like crew size as well. That actually might be a worthwhile column. So we'd have, let's say, a numbers column, and then this will move this over here actually, and then put that there, and we'll have crew size. So then we can, the person submitting this can say the number of team members that are on site that particular day. So crew size. What else? Supervisor or submitted by. So this could be, I would probably use a person column, but that then assumes that they'll have access to monday.com. So we've got a couple of options. If they do have access to Monday, then they can use the person column. Alternatively, what we can do is just have, let's say, a column to the right, which is a text column, which is submitted by, if I can spell that correctly, submitted by, and then they would go ahead and just write in their name, and then we would know who submitted that. But you can use the person column if you wanted to. So we've got date, we have submitted by crew size, work performed, equipment, weather conditions, delays, issues, safety incidents, if there are any, inspection, and then we've obviously got the status as well. So submitted, and then we've got under review and then approved. The next thing that we need to do is obviously look at how this connects to our projects, which is really, really important component of all of this, because there's no point in having a log or anything submitted if there's no way of then connecting it to the project itself. So what we want to do is we'll add another column, and this is going to be a text column. This is going to be called our project reference or project ref. Okay. Now I'm just going to take you to our projects board, because you probably won't be introduced to that if you're just watching this for the first time. But you'll notice there's a project reference number associated with every single project inside of our system. Now the idea being that when the project reference number or when a new daily log is created and there's a project reference number that matches a project reference on our projects board, then it's going to automatically connect the project to the daily log. But it's important then that the person that's submitting the daily log knows the project reference number that they're working on. But that should be just a readily available thing that needs to be done. Okay, so or they would just know that. So I'm going to just delete this person column. Then what we're going to do is we're going to press the three dotted button, settings, and make the project reference column required. Okay, so in order to create a new daily log, you have to enter in the project reference number. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a new connection, and we're going to connect our daily logs board to our projects board via a connection column. So select boards, going to connect to the projects board, and we're going to press create a two-way connection. So this then allows us to connect the daily log or the daily log submission to the project that it's associated with. I'm just going to unselect allow linking to multiple items, and then I'm going to reposition this over here. So now it's very easy to see the project that this particular submission relates to. But before we complete that, what we need to do is just set up another automation. Okay, we need to go to automate, and we need to go to create, and we need to say when item created, connect item. So, and then we're saying when an item is created in this board, connect the item where this column matches this column in another board. So we're going to run this automation. It's going to connect. So we're going to have projects, and then it needs to obviously connect the projects and the column in this board being the project reference, where it connects to the project reference on this board here, on our daily logs board, and then connect via the connection column. So we're essentially saying that when a new daily log is submitted, and the project reference matches the project reference on the projects board, then it's going to automatically create or connect to one another. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm just going to add a folder here on the left hand side just to tidy this up. So we'll have daily logs and hit enter, and then I can go ahead and reposition that in there. Cool. So we're going to go ahead now and we're going to go through the next stage of the process, which in this instance is actually submitting new daily logs. And we're going to do that via a form. Okay, so we've actually got two forms. We have a global form, which is on our hosting board here, and I'm going to create a separate video on that. But in this video, it's just going to be one form for daily logs. Okay, so they would have the one form for daily logs. We're going to create the new form by pressing the plus button in the top left hand corner and creating the new form. And then we're just going to go ahead and set it up accordingly. So edit form. We might not necessarily need the name of the daily log, or they can name it themselves. It's entirely up to you. But if you do want them to have that option, then you can just select it as required. You would make sure it is required. Also, the project reference number as well is going to be required. The status column is actually going to be hidden. So we don't really want the end user to be able to make changes to the status, because it needs to be reviewed internally. And then we have submitted by, so that's going to be a required column. We don't need the project, so we can restrict the form there, because it's going to automatically connect via the project reference number. We then have the date, that's going to be required. The crew size again is going to be required. Work performed is going to be required. So obviously in order to submit the form, they must answer the questions. We have weather conditions as well. Delays / issues noted will be required. Safety incidents again needs to be submitted. Photos and attachments I'm probably going to leave not as required, but I'll leave it available, so I'm not hiding the question. And then inspection / QA notes, again, you could have this required, maybe not, it's entirely up to you. And then date created, we want to hide, as well as date approved. We don't want those options available on our form here. So that's pretty much it. So daily logs form, and they would have access to this form. So we'd press preview. We could share the form externally by pressing the blue button, top right hand corner here. They'll then be able to go to the form, and then they can enter in. So I'll call this example daily log, project reference number 54321, submitted by Nick Boardman. Date in which I'm submitting this is the 8th of October. The crew size was 12. Work performed, example. Equipment used, example. Weather conditions were sunny. I wish. Based in the UK, there's no such thing. Delays / issues noted. Again, just put example. Safety incidents, there were none. I've got no photos or attachments to upload. And then again, example for the inspection / QA notes. So they fill this out every single day. They press submit. That will then create a new record inside of our Monday.com system. As you can see here, the daily log example, the example daily log record has just been created. You will also note here as well that it's automatically connected to our projects board via the project reference number. You can see all of the data points associated with this daily log, and we can change the status from submitted to, let's say, under review. So now someone is then reviewing this, and then once it's an approved daily log, then it moves to approved, and we can see all of these daily logs in association with our project. Now, the nice thing about connecting to the project is twofold, and I'll show you the other option in a moment. But firstly, we can then go ahead and mirror data over from our projects board onto our daily logs board. So I can then connect a mirror column to our projects board, and I can mirror over the project manager for this particular daily log, or for this particular project that's associated, or this particular daily log that's associated with this project. So now I can see who's responsible for, let's say, reviewing the daily log, because if the PM's responsible for reviewing it, they are then assigned to review it based on the project reference number that's associated with the daily log. And we can also pull over other data points as well if we wanted to. But the other nice component of this is if we scroll to the far right hand side of our projects board, the daily logs are now associated with our projects. So you can see here we've got a daily logs connection. We can see a daily log has been created in association with project number 1. I can then also add a mirror column, and I can mirror over data from my daily logs board onto my projects board. So I can then mirror over, let's say, the status of the daily logs. So daily log status associated with this particular project. So then I can go ahead and move this over here, and I can see the daily log status. So as an example, if there are multiple, and I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this, daily logs associated with a particular project, which there now are, as you can see, and I change the status of this one to approved and the other one will remain under review, and then scroll across, I can then see the status of all of the daily logs associated with this particular project. I can see one is pending review and one is approved. So that is how to manage the daily logs process inside of Monday.com for commercial GCs. Now, if you are a commercial GC doing between $10 to $50 million a year in revenue and you would like systems like this for your business, check out the link in the description below, book a call with me. But this is just the beginning. As you can see from the other components of the system that we have here, RFIs, change orders, billing, we're going to be creating new dashboards, creating or updating our hosting board. So it's a global form that people can submit anything through. Hopefully this video has been helpful, giving you an insight into what's possible. If you are a commercial GC doing between $10 to $50 million a year in revenue, you like systems like this, check out the link in the description below. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.